Did you know that you can come to New Zealand as a farm worker? Absolutely. Farm workers are always in high demands. Employers are looking for people to help them plant, maintain, harvest, and even pack their crops. And there are peak periods where this demand is so high that they're looking for people from outside New Zealand to assist them. So in this video, I'll be discussing the visa that can help you achieve this aim if you're interested in coming to New Zealand as a farm worker. What's up everyone? If you are seeing my face for the first time, I am the Sassy Engineer. Do click the subscribe button to join the community, and don't forget to like this video as it helps you to recommend it to people who need it. Yes, it's true that you can come to New Zealand as a farm worker. The visa for this is called Recognized Seasonal Employer Limited Visa. This visa is to help employers who cannot find workers in New Zealand to employ migrants to help them with planting, maintaining, harvesting, and packaging their crops. And the benefits of coming to New Zealand as a farm worker is vast. You not only get to experience the beautiful landscape of New Zealand, you also get a chance of career growth. You get some benefit packages, earn some money, and learn horticulture and viticulture skills. And if you're interested in the future, you can even buy into that business. Yes, it has happened to a lot of people. These are some of the benefits of working as a farm worker in New Zealand. Now let's explore this visa. What can you do with it? Who can apply? What are the criteria? How to apply? And if there are things that you should note. Something you should know is that there are two types of this visa. The first one is a supplementary seasonal employer visa, which I have talked about in another video on my channel. The one I'll be talking about on this video is the Recognized Seasonal Employer Limited Visa. The difference between the two is that for the first one, you have to be in New Zealand to apply for it. You cannot apply for it from outside New Zealand, and you need to be on a certain type of visa to qualify for it. While for this one, the Recognized Seasonal Employer Visa, you can apply for it from outside New Zealand. With this visa, you can work for a recognized seasonal employer in the horticulture and viticulture industry. You can only work planting, harvesting, maintaining, and packing crops. Your maximum stay varies depending on the date of arrival in New Zealand, but usually you're allowed to stay for a maximum of 7 months within an 11-month period. The Recognized Seasonal Employer Scheme allows for a set number of overseas workers to work for recognized seasonal employers in New Zealand in the horticulture and viticulture space. So each year, you see the quota is 19,000. And these people are allowed to work for different jobs like planting, maintaining, harvesting, and packing crops. One of the aims of this scheme is to encourage the economic development in the Pacific region, and therefore the preference for workers is often from citizens of eligible Pacific countries. These are some things to note. First of all, that your stay in New Zealand is restricted to fulfilling the express purpose for which this visa was granted. To find the list of recognized seasonal employers, simply click this link here, and this will pop up and you can search depending on whatever keywords. You can also use the maps to search. If you zoom in here, you see a list of the number of employers that you have within that region, or you can use the list, and this is about 205 employers. This is what their approval, the expiration of their status. So this one is valid till 2025. So they can employ people up to 2025. Just simply copy their name, put it on your web browser, and you search. Some of them have career websites, some of them don't have. You can also use recruitment agents. Check out the video on my channel for some agents in New Zealand that you can use. So your employers have some responsibilities to you. The employers must provide you with the employment agreement that meets the requirement of this visa. They must pay half of your return airfare from your home country to New Zealand. They must provide accommodation, airport pickup and drop-off, and other pastoral care. And they must comply with the relevant immigration and employment laws. So these are some things that your employers need to fulfill to you. You can read more from the Guide to Working for a Recognized Employer. Who can obtain the RSE Limited Visa? What is the eligibility criteria? What are the evidence that you need to provide? Let's look at that. So anyone can obtain this visa, okay? You just have to have an offer of employment to plant, maintain, harvest, and pack crops from an employer that has their recognized employer status valid and holds an agreement to recruit workers from offshore. So who can obtain this RAC limited visa? Who can apply for this visa? Basically, anyone can apply for this visa, but that person has to meet this set of criteria as well as providing evidence that they actually meet these criteria. So you will need to obviously give your proof of identity because you have to be 18 years and over in order to apply for this visa. You must meet Immigration New Zealand health and character requirements. You must be a bona fide applicant, and this is how they decide who is bona fide based on the information that you provide, your personal circumstances and your previous application. You must hold your return ticket to your home country. I remember according to INZ, half of this must be paid by your employer. You must hold a return ticket to your home country. You must have an offer of employment to plant, maintain, harvest and pack crops from an employer who has a recognized seasonal employer status and also holds an agreement to employ workers from offshore. So you must have an offer of work from a recognized seasonal employer. If you be working for a single one, then you have to provide a copy of your signed employment agreement. If you're working for more than one, you must provide copies of each of these employment agreements. And one of the requirements for your employers is that they must pay you at least $22.70 an hour for a minimum of 30 hours each week. Your employment agreement can include some voluntary deductions or training if you are required to do some training. That's all right. But your employer must provide you with this agreement. You must also have medical insurance for the length of stay in New Zealand, and this is some of the evidence that you have to provide that you have medical insurance. And normally this visa is only granted to people from some Pacific nations, and this is a list of the Pacific nations that are eligible for this visa. But your employers can recruit people from other nations in exceptional circumstances. However, they will need INZ's agreement first before they go on to employ these people. So what is the process of getting this visa? How do you apply for this visa? The first step is to get a job offer from a recognized seasonal employer. And like I said, you can apply for these jobs directly on their website or you can use recruitment agents. Now, before you get a job, local authorities may screen you that you're a good worker, and after that you'll be recruited to apply. So there are different processes depending on where you are from. The second step will be to apply for the visa. You will need to submit an application. And for all these visas, they are all paper applications. You will need to lodge your application with Immigration New Zealand. You need to provide your passport photograph, application fee, immigration levy, a copy of your signed employment agreement or agreement if you have more than one employer. You may need to provide X-ray certificate or character certificate. That will be told. And you also need to complete a supplementary medical certificate. Also provide evidence that you have approved and acceptable medical insurance. And once you submit all of that, the cost is about $325, which you convert to your local currency. Then Immigration New Zealand will go through everything, and if there's anything they need, they will get in touch with you. It takes around 1 to 9 days for them to make a decision on your visa. And if you are successful, they will issue you the limited visa and an approval letter, which would include an expiry date, your employment conditions, such as what your job is, the name of the business that you can work for or businesses that you can work for, the location that you should work in New Zealand. Once you get that, you must travel to New Zealand within the time period that is on the limited visa label that is on your passport. If you are from certain countries, you would be invited to attain a pre-departure settlement. Like you see here, this is from Tonga. These are the different ways you can pay your visa fees. There are some conditions that will be given on this visa. You must apply for entry permission, which is just very simple. You can only work for a recognized seasonal employer that is listed, and these are some of the jobs that you can do. And if your work ends, your visa may be extended or it can be changed and you can work for another employer or do other work. You cannot study on this visa. That is a condition. These are some travel conditions that will be on your visa. So this is just that saying the maximum time of 7 months in any 11 months period is what most people get. And you cannot apply for another visa until you leave the country. Things to note for this visa is that you must leave New Zealand before your visa expires, and you cannot appeal to Immigration and Protection Tribunal to stay in New Zealand. You may not apply for a different kind of visa while you're in New Zealand. You have to leave before you can apply. You can apply for a further limited visa, but it must be for the same express purpose. You will need to pay tax. To learn about IRD number, how to get one, as well as how to calculate tax, there are videos on my channel for that. Note that you cannot include your partner and dependent children in this visa. Okay, I hope this video helps you. This is really exciting. As you can see, you don't need IELTS. The only age limit is that you should not be younger than 18 years old, and it's free visa sponsorship. Nobody has to sponsor you. You can come to New Zealand and work for the recognized seasonal employer. So that is all about the recognized seasonal employer limited visa. I hope this video helps you. Don't forget to share it to people who will need it, and please like this video as it helps with the YouTube algorithm. And if you haven't yet subscribed, now is the time to hit the subscribe button. Thanks for staying to the end, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Hello, you don't